Thank you, Christina. Some of you probably recognize that the musical selections didn't get printed in the order of service, so I'll just let you know that was Sunday in Summertime by Gershwin with Christina's arrangement. Thank you. And now we'll have opening words. Henry?
Barb is listed for opening words, but I'm Henry, and I'm going to do them this morning. As you know, the 4th of July is coming up, and that's America's birthday. And this morning we have a few presents that you can help us open later to wish America happy birthday. And in recognition of that also, I'd like to read an edited portion of a small part of the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all are created equal, that they are endowed with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights, governments are instituted, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, in such form as shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness.
Good morning. My name is Barb Eglinton. I am the president of the executive board here at UUCF. And our minister, Reverend Leonetta Boulezi, is out of the pulpit. We will be hearing from 3 of our members, Henry Millett, who just did the opening words, Harry Munson, and Marie Laurie. So I'll introduce them a little bit later. I'd like to extend a special welcome to all of you who are visiting us today to join us downstairs for coffee, bagels, and conversation. And if there's anyone visiting for the first time today and you feel comfortable standing and telling us your name and where you heard about us, we'd like to meet you. Anyone? Okay. Well, welcome all. During the service, we do have supervised nursery for babies and toddlers, of which I think we have none today. So, we do. So, okay. So obviously you found the nursery. Okay, thank you. But we do, in the summertime we don't have a children's message, but the rest of the year we do, and just want to say that we welcome those little ones while they're in the meeting house, because we know that they are our future. And I have a couple of announcements. Our annual picnic will be held on July 30th, right after the service. It will be a family event, so for the whole family. Refer to the order of service and the magnet for more information. And does anybody know where, is it at Shiawassee or at Heritage Park this year? Heritage Park. Okay, good. And remember that on the 3rd Sunday of the month, the Gregories are continuing the tradition of hosting a walk through our woods. It's a 20-minute walk, so take advantage of that if you can. And I'd like you to silence your cell phones. If you haven't already, silence your cell phones. And now we will sing our first hymn, number 112, Do You Hear? Please rise as you are willing and able.
Rain.
now please join me for the Litany of Gathering on page 3 of your order of service. This is our sacred time and space. We gather in community to renew our spirits, to explore the mystery, and to share our joys and sorrows. With you, I find strength. Together we come bound by love and respect. With me, you can share your deepest self. Together we learn to understand and to forgive. We share triumphs. And they inspire. We share failures. And we share our human nature. We share joy. And it multiplies. We share sorrow. And it begins to lessen. Please come forward and share a personal joy or sorrow that you'd like to share with us this morning, and you may light a candle.
Hi, I'm Libby Berger. I've got several joys. One of them is we just got back from GA, General Assembly in New Orleans. Harry's going to talk about that a little bit, but anything else you want to know about it, just ask one of us afterwards. And then I got here this morning, and our box is in the foyer. This is the box that Ron Campbell made for us for the Social Justice Committee. You know, all those bins downstairs under the coats that look kind of crappy by now, they're going to go in that box. So when you come in, if you've got things to donate for social justice, just put them right in there, and we'll deal with it from there. And then one other thing about General Assembly, one of the most moving parts of General Assembly is the parade of banners. And every congregation there has a banner, and it's marvelous to understand that, you know, we're really part of this whole huge organization and movement, except we don't have a banner anymore. At least we can't find it. We've had at least 2 that I know of. So if anybody knows where the banner is, please let me know. Otherwise, the Quilters and Crafters group is going to take that on, I think. Thanks.
And Libby, GA is in Kansas City, Missouri next year?
Yes.
Your stomping grounds?
Yes.
Harry, can I ask you to light one last candle for the unspoken joys and sorrows among us? May these lights remind us of the community and the mission of this congregation.
I'm lighting 2 candles, one for the religious side, one for the religious.
Thank you. Now it's time to take our offering, and if you are visiting us, you please consider yourself a guest, and we are not expecting you to contribute to the offering. Many of the members send in their pledge through the mail or direct deposit, so this is not the only way that we collect funds, but if you feel moved, please contribute to the offertory. Let's read the offertory words together on page 4 in your order of service. We give generously to support this church where love, justice, and equality inspire our acts of service and compassion. We dedicate these gifts to all that we stand for within the Unitarian Universalist tradition. And now we'll sing another hymn together. Yeah, we're rearranging things a little bit. So we'll sing number 119, Once Soul. So, July 4th is America's Independence Day, or our birthday. So you may have seen that on the cover of the order service, and we have gifts on the altar. So we are celebrating the 4th of July, which makes us realize that our early patriots' birthday gifts to us with the Declaration of Independence. Today, we have the opportunity to give gifts to our United States of America. What gifts would we bring to our Sunday morning celebration of our country and for its future? We are going to hear from, as I mentioned, Harry Munson, Henry Millett, and Marie Laurie. So I will tell you a little bit about each of them. Harry Munson is a retired chemist. He has been a member of this congregation for many years. He just returned from the National UU General Assembly in New Orleans and is filled with new ideas and inspirations that he would like to share with all of us. Henry Millett has been a member of UUCF since 2008. He is an attorney, retired from a career with the United States Department of Veterans Affairs. He retired in 2013 and now works part-time on consulting and legal projects. He and his wife, Christy, live in Farmington Hills and enjoy spending the winters in Leesburg, Florida. Marie Laurie has been a member of UUCF for 6 years. An instructional designer by trade, she has an extensive background in civil and human rights work. In her travels here and abroad, she has had the good fortune of looking at the USA from a variety of viewpoints. She describes her relationship with her mother country as loving but complicated. So, Harry.
For our reading this morning, we have chosen The New Colossus by Emma Lazarus. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses learning to breathe free. the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Let's take a few moments of silence and meditation.
What a happy rendition of patriotic songs. Thank you very much. Barb, I wonder if you'd do the pleasure of handing out some gifts here, and everybody can help us, all right? One at a time, of course. If we could get a volunteer to open the first gift to, now these are gifts to America, which Harry and Marie and I have chosen to give to America. That's a little broad concept maybe, but I think it makes some sense. Who would like to open the first gift? Do we have a volunteer? Diane Nolan, have I got that right? Let's see what she opens.
Paper.
warm puppy with Lucy and Snoopy.
Okay. Thank you very much, Diane. So that's the first gift to America. I hope you are all happy. You hope you're happy. Thomas Jefferson wanted you to be happy too. He included the pursuit of happiness as the one activity for your life and liberty. We want everybody to be happy. My gift to America is the Peanuts cartoon character book, Happiness is a Warm Puppy, by Charles Schulz, for guidance in our pursuit of happiness as individuals and as a country. Thomas Jefferson described in the Declaration of Independence the individual pursuit of happiness as an unalienable right. Jefferson then linked our country's happiness to government when he stated that government is established by the people to bring about the happiness of the people. We need both types of happiness. You have life and the freedom to pursue those activities and people that make you happy. Our government then provides laws and courts for when we bump into each other in our individual pursuits of happiness, and programs that help all of us when we fall on hard times that interrupt that pursuit. The book includes examples of simple pleasures that glow within us and grow around us. Happiness doesn't have to be loud or competitive like a lot of America. A warm puppy links us to gentleness and playful innocence. A pile of leaves is a simple pleasure to be enjoyed individually or with others and links us to our outside world. Getting the sliver out could be a form of health care. Lucy got Linus's sliver out of his finger. That's in the book. Tying your own shoes shows how much we value independence. And 3 friends in a sandbox with no fighting is a lesson in getting along with others. Those are all from the book. We all wonder what to pursue to find happiness. Puppies, leaves, sandboxes. On the more mature level, we all think about money. Consider this saying: money is not the key to happiness, but I always figured that if you have enough money, you can have a key made. Bring this book to their attention. I believe we do aim for joy, gladness, bliss, nirvana, and similar states of being that may be like happiness, but what about everyday happiness in this world? We may be talking about the same thing. That's a leap of faith that some UUs make, but I think we need to emphasize happiness more. Jeffrey Sachs suggests that America might be happier if there were more mindfulness meditation, and this is from him too, this isn't from Reverend Leonetta, more mindfulness meditation, more giving and volunteering, and less commercial orientation. Those ideas seem very UU and very Charlie Brown. When asked if he was happy, Jeffrey Sachs replied that he felt very lucky. Aha, I think that's how a lot of happiness touches us, when least expected. Lucy didn't expect happiness when she first hugged the puppy, but she received it as a gift. To identify what is needed to bring about greater happiness in the world, the United Nations compiles a World Happiness Report annually. The report surveys citizens in 155 countries as to their perceptions of their own happiness, and then scores the countries on 6 subjects. According to the 2017 survey, Norway is the happiest country. The next 5 in order are Denmark, Iceland, Switzerland, Finland, and the Netherlands. Do you see a trend? Location's not the only similarity. These countries' citizens perceive themselves as very happy, and the countries score well on one or more of the leading scoring categories due to such factors as high incomes, universal health care, high levels of support for education and daycare, social support programs, system of choice, and trust in government. America ranked 4th, which is not bad, but Sachs feels we could be higher considering our wealth next speaker doesn't have a
41 years since the Declaration of Independence, 228 since the adoption. For your birthday, I'd like to give a very small gift. It's so small, it's actually very hard to see. But if you looked inside, you might even think this box is empty. But hidden deep inside, there's a jewel. Be careful, because it's a very tiny jewel, like the one Pandora found. It's the jewel of hope. It's my hope that we someday will achieve a society free from racism. My wife Libby and I just returned from the Unitarian Universalist General Assembly in New Orleans. We had a wonderful time interacting with other UUs, installing our new president, who's Susan Frederick Gray, and tasting New Orleans. Food is wonderful. Bourbon Street is remarkable. The heat and humidity were really not too bad. But I spent a lot of time during this meeting thinking and discussing white supremacy and racism. White supremacy is a little bit too big of a topic for me to handle right here. But I would like to make a few comments about racism, as if that's not too big a topic. If you haven't heard, the Unitarian Universalist Association is looking into itself to identify and combat racism. My first response on hearing this was, how could Unitarian Universalists, probably the most liberal tradition of any religion, be racist? The problem, as I understand it, is that racism is so deeply ingrained in our society that it's often hard to see. It traces way back before the Declaration of Independence. It traces back to the colonies back in 1620, when the first slaves were brought over from Africa, almost 400 years. When the Declaration of Independence was adopted, and it declared, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men," and thank you, Henry, for removing the word men, that all were created equal. But I don't believe the framers of the Declaration were even considering the slaves that they owned. We've been working to try to improve this over the last 240 years, but there's still a long way to go. Slavery was abolished in 1865, but the following 100 years was a period of terrorism against black people. The migration of black people from the U.S. South to northern cities, commonly cited as a search for greater economic opportunity, is now being seen as refugees and exiles from the terror of the South. Lynchings were common. Today, people of color are too often presumed dangerous and guilty, no matter their social class, age, or how much money they have. The United States has the highest incarceration rate of any country in the world, with just under 1% of its population in prison.
Stop you for a second. 2 deer out there. 3 deer. 3.
Everybody wants to see.
We are very interesting, but
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you. The United States has the highest incarceration rate of any country in the world, with just under 1% of its population in prison. However, 35% of the prison population is people of color, even though they make up only about 14% of the total population. Today in the United States, by the age of 4, a child is aware that it is better to be white. We have been ingrained with the idea of racism from our earliest age, just as our country had its racial roots. At the General Assembly in New Orleans, we heard a very moving speech by Brian Stevenson, a lawyer from Alabama who has spent his career helping condemned prisoners. Stevenson said that there are 4 essential things we must do to create a more just and equal world. First, get proximate to the poor, the excluded, the neglected, and the abused. Second, change the narratives that underlie racism and other inequalities. Third, stay hopeful about creating justice. And fourth, be willing to do uncomfortable things. I can relate to this uncomfortable things part because I'm up here talking, and that can be uncomfortable. But changing the narratives that underlie racism is critically important, Stevenson said. Oppressors justify oppression with a narrative of fear and anger, which leads to a culture that tolerates injustice. It was the narrative of racial difference that was used to justify slavery. It was the narrative of racial difference that allowed the displacement of the Native American cultures. In South Africa, the history of apartheid is openly discussed. In Germany, Holocaust stories are placed in front of, Holocaust stones are placed in front of homes of Jews who were taken and sent to camps, because Germany is trying to change the narrative. Here, we have this wonderful Holocaust museum just down the road, and we go there and say, never again. But when it comes to our own history of what we have done here in the United States, we avoid discussions of slavery and lynching. Stevenson urged UUs to resist fear and anger, examine how we treat our poor children, and acknowledge that we live in a post-genocidal society, given that more than 10 million Native peoples died of disease or murder in the United States. Racism is not just black and white. It is red and white, brown and white, yellow and white. One way that the UUA is addressing changing this narrative is their strong commitment to BLUU, the Black Lives of Universalist Unitarianism. Unitarian Universalism. They want to become a more intentionally multicultural and anti-racist institution. At the General Assembly, the process was begun to add an 8th principle for Unitarian Universalists. The proposed 8th principle says, "We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions." This process that was started at this last General Assembly will take at least 2 more years to study and decide whether we want to add an 8th principle and be sure this is just how we want to state it. Bryan Stevenson ended his lecture by urging UUs to stay hopeful about creating racial justice. Hope makes us speak out, so fight against what makes you hopeless. He said, "Our hopefulness is the one thing we cannot compromise. You are either hopeful or you are part of the problem." And so, America, let's continue the hope that we can achieve a society free from racism. Let us hope that someday we will have a society where all people can truly have life, liberty, and pursue happiness. When you open this small present that I got, I want you to look carefully at this little gem, and I hope that when you open it, you'll look inside and say, WTF, wasn't that fantastic?
We need a volunteer for the second gift.
Because it's in a band.
I can't rap. Thank you, Gloria. On the 4th of July, we celebrate the things we love about our country, the things we're proud of, and that's as it should be. We're justifiably proud of our ideals, our can-do spirit, our drive. We're proud of our Constitution, which is the oldest still enforced Constitution in the world and has served as a model for so many others around the world. And we repeat Thomas Jefferson's words, I'm the third person to say them today, in the Declaration of Independence, the words that changed history, not just on this piece of land, but for the entire world: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we need to. But in our seemingly boundless pride and optimism, as Harry just pointed out, we often lose sight of who we are and see only who we want to be. My gift to America is a mirror, a clear mirror, because we need to always, always be sure that we're looking at ourselves and our history and our future with clear eyes, both the bad and the good. In 1938, Langston Hughes wrote a poem called "Let America Be America Again." He wrote, "Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain, seeking a home where he himself is free. America never was America to me. Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that great, strong land of love where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above. It never was America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark, and who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor white, fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro bearing slavery's scars. I am the red man driven from the land, and I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. When we talk about Jefferson, we need to remember Sally Heming too.